And I'm back. Second part of this, sorry I got interrupted and could not figure out how to pause my recording. But looking at your reteach worksheet here, the golden notes page, goldenrod, um, looking at some of the examples on here, you'll see that these are all dealing with spinners. Um, so in this scenario, same kind of deal, looking at like a weather forecast. Tom, considering going on a road trip, there's a 75% chance of snow each day. Uh, so in this scenario, the two options for the weather is either snow or no snow. Um, so our probability of snow is 75%. Probability of no snow then would be 25%. So quarters, we can cut that spinner into 4 parts so that 3 of the sections signify snow. So 3 out of 4 would be 75% versus the one section that is no snow, which would be 1 out of 4 or 25%. So he does 5 trials, doing a spinner or spinning the spinner twice to represent um, the chance of snow on Saturday and the chance of snow on Sunday. So out of the 2 trials, or the 5 trials, sorry, here we have 1 day with no snow. Here it's 2 days with snow, 2 days with snow, 2 days with snow, 2 days with no snow. So the probability that it's going to snow on both days, based on his 5 trials, is the 1, 2, 3 days out of 5. So it's fairly likely that it's going to get snow. He's going to get snowed on both days, just based on his simulated results. Okay, for the next scenario, just like on the last one, I would like you to pause and attempt to do 1 through 3. Answer these 3 questions based on this information. See what you can come up with, and then continue the video to check your answers. So go ahead and pause now. Take a few minutes to do that. Come back and check your work. So continuing on here, Emma is successful on 80% of free throws she attempts this basketball season. So she uses the spinner shown to simulate her next 4 attempts at free throws. 1 through 4 are going to represent successful shots. So all of these, if she lands on 1, 2, 3, or 4, that's going to indicate that she made it. If she gets a 5, that means she missed that shot. And so she set this up this way because 80%, if you look at that as 80 out of 100 and reduce that fraction, that's going to reduce to 4/5. So you want to try to make a spinner that's going to have the least number of sections. It would be kind of ridiculous to try to design a spinner that had 100 sections and 80 of them would be wins. So we break this down into the smallest fraction you can, and you want your denominator to equal the number of sections, and your numerator is going to be um, the number of spots that indicate that she made the shot. So 1 through 4 means that she made it, 5 means that she didn't. So describe the results of the first simulated trial. So that's here is her first simulated trial. She got a 1, a 5, a 5, and a 3. So that's going to indicate that she made the first and last shots because she got on her spinner, she got a 1 and she got a 3. Those indicate a shot made. So she made the first and last shots, but missed the second and third shots because she spun a 5 both of those times. So that would indicate a miss. For how many of the 5 simulated trials do the data predict exactly 2 successful baskets? So here we're looking at how many times are there exactly 2 of 1, 2, 3, or 4. Now, that might be harder than looking at your options. And instead of looking at the wins, I'm going to look at the misses because those are going to be easier to count. That only happens when we get a 5. So if I'm looking at my results, okay, so I have a 5, a 5, 5, 5, 5, and that's it. Okay, in this scenario, for how many of these trials do the data predict exactly 2 successful baskets? If she had exactly 2 successful baskets, that means that she's going to have 2 unsuccessful baskets. So that's also a way that we could look at this to try to figure out how many there were. And out of all of these, the 2 that show 2 unsuccessful baskets would be this first trial and the third trial. So the answer to this question is that she would have 2 successful baskets on 2 of the trials.
Mom, can I watch a movie?
Hold on, guys. Jack is asking me a question. Yes, you can watch a movie. Okay, your bed's in doesn't mean anything. So the third question here, based on the simulated data, what is the probability that Emma successfully will make exactly 2 of her next attempted free throws? So out of those 5 trials, 2 of them, let me finish writing. I can't talk and write at the same time. So exactly 2 successful shots. Out of the 5 trials, only 2 of the simulations gave her exactly 2 successful shots. So 2 out of the 5 times, her probability is about 40% of making her 2 of the next 4 attempted free throws. Okay, again, same situation, still dealing with Emma. She's going to conduct an additional 5 trials and records the data below. Based on the results of all 10 trials, so these 5 plus the 5 up here, find the probability that Emma will successfully make at least 3 of her next 4 attempted free throws. So take a second to pause the video and come up with your answer, and then come back and we'll check it together. So we are looking at the probability of at least 3 shots made. I don't want to write successful again. Okay, so at least 3 means that she has 3 made or 4. So we want to look at how often is she going to make 3 or 4 shots. So again, if it helps you to kind of keep track of that, instead of looking at the shots made, look at the ones that she misses. So now instead of looking at the number of ways that she has 2 not made, okay, if she makes 3 shots, that means that she's going to miss 1 shot. So I'm going to label this. She's going to make 3 or 4. That means that she would miss 1 or 2. Nope, I don't know how to add. 1 or 0. If she makes all 4, she misses none of them. So I want to look at how many of these have only 1 5 or 0 5s. So going through all of our options, this one has 1, 5. Here, nope. Again, I don't know how to count. Sorry. This one has no 5s. This one has no 5s. There's none. There's 1, none, 1, none. Okay, so out of the 10 trials, how many did I highlight? 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 out of 10, 4 out of 5, 80%. The chances that she's going to make at least 3 shots would be 4 out of 5. Okay, if you need some more examples of this, again, you could look in your book. The weather example that I used previously is on page 412. You can go back and look at that. Examples 2 and 3 on page 413 also give you some more options here to look at for some further explanation. So we'll say see page 413 in your books for more examples. Okay, with that, you could work on the 7-7 lesson quiz on the back side of that worksheet. If you have questions over this or if you're struggling with it, we will take some time on Wednesday before we get into the MAST test on this to go over some of the stuff and clarify some things if you need to do that. Or if you get this done and you can turn it in probably before lunch on Wednesday, I can have a chance to look over your work and make sure that we're on the right track and ready to do our MAST testing on Wednesday. So good luck. I'll see you guys tomorrow.